Hello everyone, it's DuckFairy07. Today we are playing Blue Zoo with Tamiyo. Okay, so Blue Zoo is archetype long ago featured on my channel, and it changed over time, evolved, and we got MH3, and the people saying not much is there for Zoo, of course. If you saw my last Zoo video, I think Ajani is a good addition to regular Zoo list. There are also other cards. I posted some of the lists in my Discord, in Zoo Discord, on Twitter. Okay, so I believe Zoo has several options to go with post MH3. There are some like non-Scion builds that are available using more new cards like MH3. I think that is completely fine. I think these builds can be pretty good. Raptor is a pretty strong card, but also regular Zoo is kind of, I feel that is post MH3 kind of people lost a bit of interest in it because all of the new cards, but after some time I think people will come back to that and realize that Scion+Guildpact plus Scion is still like the tier 1 combo in modern that works pretty well. But in the meantime also this list will evolve. Ajani is a good 2 to 3 copies, a great addition to the regular Zoo lists. There is Blue Zoo where I believe Tamiyo could be excellent addition to really powerful 1 mana threat in addition to Ragavan, and these builds are more focused on playing like the most effective, most value threats in difference between regular Zoo lists. In this one, this Blue Zoo is this version of Blue Zoo is trying to go a little bit more on value, so we're playing cards like Charter Course. Previously this was like Expressive Iteration, but a card like a Charter Course works well in a Zoo deck. We got 8 1-drops, and the Charter Course on turn 2 flips Tamiyo immediately. It also the mana curve of this deck is not that low, so when you play Expressive Iteration, there's actually like a decent chance that you will be forced to take land just to play something, and you won't be able to use those 2 cards you get effectively. And I believe that the Charter Course is actually a better fit for a build like this, where it also just immediately flips Tamiyo, like a turn 1 attack with Tamiyo, get a clue, play Charter Course, just flip it immediately, plus it, get it down on 4 counters, and opponent is under immense clock, and they have to attack it, they have to remove it somehow, or else Tamiyo is just going to overwhelm them with the card advantage. Of course, you don't just win with Tamiyo by using the ultimate. You can also use the plus ability, can be very helpful when racing aggro deck. Minus ability, getting Charter Course, getting Counterspell, Bolt from the graveyard can be very useful too. Also pick your poison from the sideboard, Flame of Fener, whatever. Charter Course, I think it's a very synergistic card with Tamiyo, and the card that works very efficiently in the Zoo shell like this, where you're just trying to attack with creatures and then draw some cards, fill your hand, find the missing pieces you need to finish the game, either the Counterspell, Leyline Binding, or another creature, whatever. Okay, so I've been pretty happy with it, and the chart of course feels amazing in this list. Whenever I always want to draw it, I always want to find it. It's kind of amazing that we didn't try this before, but there was not much incentive to play it before, where there wasn't a Tamiyo as a great payoff for playing a Chart of Course. But I believe Chart of Course is similar to Flame of Fener, just very efficiently flips Tamiyo, and this deck can't really afford to play Flame of Fener in the main, but we have it in the side. Not enough wizards to use Flame of Fener in the main, and also it's a 3 mana card, which is a bit high for Zoo lists like this. Yeah, okay, so we got Ragavans, Tamiyo, Kavu, and Scion+Guildpact's subtleties on the sideboard, and that are our creatures. here. Okay, so on the sideboard I got some graveyard hate, pick your poisons, Flame of Fener as additional artifact hate, damping spheres and 4 subtleties, that's it. So I think that right now it's more important to have Force of Negation in the main, and we got subtleties in the side, mostly switching one for the other, but sometimes playing both. Okay, so let us, before we go to the gameplay, I just want to remind you that you can go down to cardelc.com if you want to support my channel. Use the link down in the video description. If you're using my link to make a purchase over there, you're supporting my channel. And Cardelc is offering some cool token solution for your paper collection. If you want to know more about that, make sure you go there and using my link down below in the video description. Okay, so now we can check the gameplay. Okay, so match 1. Starting first, too many lands to keep this. I decide to keep the Ragavan and not Tamiyo in this hand. Okay, so turn 2, I made mana base for this deck that is a bit different from the other mana bases. As you will see, I'm playing biggest difference is I'm playing Hallowed Fountain. In this build I need more blue sources, and it enables me in situations like this to get double blue plus full domain here, which I believe is very important. Okay, so here as you can see, I actually accidentally skipped my combat. I didn't stay back on purpose, not attack my opponent for 7 damage. I just accidentally skipped combat, just misclicked, and yeah, that was it. Of course, I again misclicked, letting my opponent accidentally draw a card, and I could have just played the binding in response to not let them draw a card, but through all of this I was still able to somehow get the win. Okay, so I played territorial, sorry, I didn't get the win. My opponent actually got the win there, finding through the breach on Emrakul, and yeah, that was the lethal. But yeah, so definitely I missed a 7 damage there, which I could also find a new card by doing the Kawu ability. Then I missed binding their 1 ring in response to them tapping. They let them draw additional card. Maybe that was crucial, not sure. But anyway, your opponent got this win, so let's check out game 2. I'm pretty impatient player often. I just F6 a lot, like really a lot. I just F6 and like then when I see that something bad is going to happen, then try to F6 actually means on MTGO it means just pass all, just don't respond to anything. So often it happens that I don't okay, opponent plays the talismans, they play the stirrings, they go down to the 17, and I mean, I don't have full domain here, but I'm still good attacking with Tamiyo, attacking for 5 damage. And what is sweet with Tamiyo in this build is that very often on turn 3 you get to attack with territorial Kawu. You do draw this card for free, and then you play the Tamiyo, or you already have it on the field. You just play 1 preordain and Tamiyo flips. That is amazing. That feels very, very broken a lot of the times. Okay, so I passed the turn here just flipping the Tamiyo. I had Force of Negation here, and I can return it next turn to my hand with Tamiyo. And okay, so here I again attack for 5. I discard the Leyland Binding, didn't find it really necessary here. And also I just keep the Counterspell for this turn, so I don't really need the Force of Negation. Okay, so now I find a Zagot Triumph for a full domain here, which also means lethal in this attack. Opponent tries to kill my Kawu, but I have the Counterspell and I go for the lethal, so that is the game. Let's check out game 3. Okay, so as you can see here, definitely boarded a couple of damping spheres, removed all the ley lines. I think they're just completely unnecessary. Brought in a couple of damping spheres and a couple of flame of feiners. I think that's it. Okay, so opponent plays a second Eldrazi temple, and I don't have much at right now, just a territorial Kavu. Opponent finds Dismember to kill my Kavu, and but it's decent for me. Opponent is still far away from Through the Breach. I'm able to play Kavu again and pass the turn. So they play the One Ring. I have Binding to take care of the ring. First I want to do draw discard, draw 2 more cards, and I didn't draw any solutions. So I just play the Binding, take the ring, and play my Ragavan. So right now, hoping they don't have Through the Breach. They didn't have it, but they cast Devourer of Flesh plus the Dismember and draw the ring, get back their ring. That was pretty strong turn for the opponent. Opponent draws another card with the ring. I have Scion attacking next turn for 4 plus a bolt in my hand. They're going down on 4 life and taking 2 damage from the ring. That is pretty low. So post main phase, they go down to 2, and I play the Charter Course, drawing 2 cards, getting me Force of Negation. So I just patiently wait with Force of Negation in this situation to protect myself against Through the Breach or whatever they planning on trying here. Okay, so they go for Through the Breach, and of course I play the Force of Negation, and opponent is dead next turn. I guess they didn't find any solutions, or they had solutions but maybe didn't have mana to play both. So they went with Through the Breach. I had the counter, so that was the match. Okay, so let's check out match 2. Okay, so match 2, had to mulligan that starting hand, keep pretty decent hand with Leyline, turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Kavu, and Leyline Binding. Okay, so opponent just plays Mire, passes the turn. So hoping to, you can see just how good Charter Course is in a situation like this. If I don't have a territorial Kavu here, Charter Course would be excellent play in here. So, but I have Kavu. Kavu is best creature in domain, most domain zoo builds. So I just play the Kavu, hold the Leyline Binding, pretty good here, helping me remove both Ruby Medallion or the creature. What is Ral Zarek? Yeah, of course my opponent plays Ruby Medallion here, passes the turn. Okay, so I go in for attack here, exile a card from the graveyard, and I play 2 Charter Courses and Leyline Binding their Medallion, and I don't have anything to do here. They play the Ral, I can't kill it. All I can do is do the draw discard with the Kavu ability, attack, put them down on 1 life. They have a Ral on the field, which means any ability they can just take the 1 damage from Ral and die, but they were lucky enough to lose the coin flip. So Ral flips immediately, and they try to play Past in Flames to win, but I have Force of Negation. You can see just how good, how strong the Force of Negation is in these matches, basically immediately winning me first match and this first game in the second match. Really strong piece. Okay, so I boarded in Damping Spheres. Obviously Damping Spheres are here for this matchup against a Storm, also works against a Tron, against Eugene's Labyrinth. Okay, so here I start with Ragavan. You have to be careful. This is a new mana base I built for this deck, and it works great. I'm very happy with it. So I was able to get blue mana for Counterspell very efficiently while also not having problems casting Territorial Kavu. So it is pretty good, but you just have to be really careful with your fetching. That is always true whatever zoo lists are you playing. Okay, so here I play the Zagot Triumph and I play the Damping Sphere. Maybe it was better to just play the Misty here, save the treasure. Okay, I decide to Force of Negation the Morphos, because if I Force of Negation the Morphos, they can play Ral here. So they are just losing this card, they are not able to play it, so I kind of liked just forcing there. And here I go, attacking with Ragavan, again connecting. I have Damping Sphere on the field, attacking with creatures. I have Preordain. Okay, so I decide to play the Preordain, but I must use 2 mana for it. Maybe it was better here to play the Preordain first, then I would find the second Damping Sphere, basically making it impossible for them to win, but this was okay too, and my opponent just concedes next turn. They can't beat the sphere, so that's it. Let's check out match 3. Sphere is pretty efficient hate for the Storm deck, and of course they can play simple solutions for it, but I have to draw it, and I have multiples from the sideboard, plus I have additional card I can board in a match like this. Okay, so my opponent is playing mono white Ether Vial. That in Texas is usually not a great matchup for zoo style decks. They can destroy lands, which is not a good news. Okay, so here I play turn 2 Kavu. It's a bit easier when you have Leyline of the Guildpact, of course. Opponent has a Giver of Runes and passes the turn. Okay, here I am attacking with a Kavu, and I have some options here, but I decide just to play Tamiyo plus another Kavu. I could have just flipped the Tamiyo immediately, but also next turn, this is actually very funny, I will be able to flip Tamiyo in the attack step just by attacking with Kavus. That is amazing. That really feels amazing. Also, often what happens is you play Kavu on turn 2, then turn 3 you just play the Tamiyo, play the Preordain, immediately flip it, plus it, and still have 1 mana open for interaction. That feels really like truly broken. Okay, so here is my opponent playing Solitude, but I'm still attacking with a Kavu here. Opponent plays Oven Interrupter on my Kavu, and I play Tamiyo as a blocker, and I have another Tamiyo on 6 counters. Okay, my opponent is down on 5. Okay, so they still don't attack me or the Tamiyo. I take the Giver, I play the Ragavan, and yeah, so Tamiyo is now on 8. Right now they can't really effectively attack it, and my opponent concedes. That is the game, so let's check out game 2. Okay, next turn Tamiyo ultis, and when Tamiyo ultis, that is game over. Okay, so let's check out the sideboarding plan for this one. So Force of Negation is basically not doing anything in this matchup, and Counterspell is not that efficient too. So I cut those and cut a single Charter Course to bring in, most importantly, like subtleties. And a couple of Pick Your Poisons too. Okay, so I have multiple options here. I decide to go for the Tamiyo on turn 1, then Subtlety there, Ocelot Pride. Ocelot Pride here gains life anyway, and they are making a token, so I didn't want to allow them getting the second one. That feels like it could be too much this early. Okay, so opponent doesn't seem to have second mana, which is good news for me. I play my Zagotrium and pass the turn, getting a clue token. Next turn I will have full domain. I can play Kavu plus binding. Opponent finds a second Oscillate Pride, which is pretty good right here, going really wide, but they're struggling getting mana. Okay, so now I can get a full domain, play the Scion+Guildpact. Scion+Guildpact also gives hexproof to your Tamiyo, even without Leyline, but I played the Scion last turn because I have Leyline of the Guildpact in my hand, and if I get the combo, that is like, can be pretty good. So just making more clue tokens here, attacking with the Kavu. If you're wondering why is my opponent creature stepped, they actually had the Sky Hussar, which says that you can just tap 2 white creatures to draw a card only during your upkeep and only once each turn. But they did this every turn and it drew them a decent amount of cards. It's a pretty decent tech. Okay, so here I discard a second Tamiyo. Attack them both with Kavu and Tamiyo, and now I can play the Leyline of the Guildpact and give all my creatures first strike, hexproof, lifelink, trample, vigilance, and this is now very hard to beat for a deck like this that don't have that much removal. Okay, so my opponent gets some more Ocelot Pride tokens. It's like 6 of them, but even that is not enough right now. Okay, so my opponent is on 16, but I'm able to just do like a lot of relevant stuff here. My opponent is already down on 10. I plus the Tamiyo, making all their tokens basically do nothing. And they interrupt my bolt, but that is not a big deal. I plus the Tamiyo, and all my creatures have lifelink and vigilance, and there is nothing much they can do here. Okay, so I go for the attacks. My opponent just blocks with everything, and I killed. We traded for Kavu, but I drove another Kavu, and my opponent is down on 7. This means next turn I probably have lethal. I can also use the Tamiyo ability to get back another bolt from the graveyard, but opponent plays Meddling Mage, chooses Lightning Bolt and the second Mage on the binding. So I actually should have played the Pick Your Poison maybe before attacks just kill the Interrupter. But okay, so my opponent is on 5 and I have a Scion lethal next turn. My opponent actually has a bunch of cards in hand. This Sky Hussar actually drew them so many cards. We'll look at how many abilities they had, but it's still not enough to beat the Scion+Guildpact combo. And what is this card? Assemble the Prayers. I don't think I ever seen this card, maybe once, and maybe I forgot about it. But here I had the Pick Your Poison to kill their flyer and go in for lethal with Scion+Guildpact. So that is the match. Okay, so let's check out another one. Match 4. Okay, so starting first, Leyline on the field, Raga 1 turn 1, Scion+Guildpact turn 2. This is the unbeatable hands of Domain Zoo. There's just no beating this, especially when you're playing a Blue Zoo and you have cards like Force of Negation, Counterspell, Preordain to dig for answers. There's just, it's pretty close to impossible, especially for the Eldrazi deck. There's just no way they're winning a Scion+Guildpact combo, especially when I play cards like Leyline Binding. Of course, they have what is it called, the 7 mana sweeper that kills everything, but that is 7 mana. I know they can play it before, but it's really hard to get to that mana when you're playing against this deck. And also I'm playing Counterspell, so yeah. Okay, so Counterspell in hand, 6 damage on the field. I can also just crack the fetch, surveil. I should have done that, probably forgot at this point, but yeah, that was the play. I probably didn't even care. I didn't consider my opponent has a chance of coming back from this one. Yeah, they try to play the Kozilek's command here, drawing a card, getting 2 Eldrazi spawn tokens. They must use the Eldrazi spawn tokens to play some big mana spell here. They go for the Totnot Sphere. And yeah, this time I wanted to use the Counterspell to go in with... They have to chump the Eldrazi with the spawns, with both spawns, or they're losing the game. And yeah, I put the Leyline in the yards and actually draw another land, which wasn't great, but yeah, my opponent, I guess they didn't have answers here, so they just blocked Ragavan with 1 Eldrazi, and this doesn't give them enough mana to do anything relevant on the next turn, so that was a win. Let's check out game 2 and the sideboarding plan for Eldrazi matchup. Okay, so I trimmed trimmed actually 2 Tamiyos, 1 Ragavan. I think Ragavan is slightly better in this matchup. Okay, also brought in a couple of damping spheres. Subtleties I think is a better option than Force of Negation, but still kept a couple of forces in to be able to counter that 7 mana card they play that sweeps my board. Okay, so here I didn't have creatures. I really wanted creatures here, didn't have them, but I guess I'll just be forced to play a bit slower game here, holding counter spells and my interaction. Okay, so unfortunately another land for me. I really want any creature here at this point. I have to settle for this. Okay, so my opponent tries to go for the Kozilek's command here, drawing a card, getting them Eldrazi Scions. I decide, yeah, maybe that wasn't a good decision, but I decided to counter that. That was a bit risky. I had like a Leyline Binding on their turn for a creature. Okay, so I have Ragavan finally, so creature on the field attacking, Counterspell and Binding in my hand, so things looking a bit better. All is Dust is the name of the card. Yeah, especially when you have Leyline of the Guildpact on the field, the All is Dust just kills everything. Okay, so Chart a Course, I'm very glad to see that card right now. Excellent card. Especially in the situation like this. I already attacked, so Chart a Course is still drawing me 2 cards, but I decide to protect my Ragavan here, putting them down to 40 and playing a Chart a Course and playing another Chart a Course, drawing 4 cards here, finding a Scion+Guildpact. Great card, just love it. Chart a Course was just consistently good in all the games I played across 2-3 leagues. It just never disappointed, always felt good. Okay, so here I find Kavu. I have Binding if they try to do something nasty. I don't want to overcommit. They have All is Dust here under this Eugene's Labyrinth. Okay, so I decide to play, I exile this card from their library. I played this card, killed their Eugene's Labyrinth, which was actually pretty decent here. Next turn they would be able to cast All Is Dust, so this slowed them a bit. Okay, so here 5 mana. Opponent has 5 mana and plays a Reality Smasher. I think this list was a bit weird. I'm not sure what it's trying to do. It plays cards like Smasher, but is not really aggressive. And didn't find the prison pieces too. Yeah, it was just kind of weird. Okay, so I decided to use the Leyline Binding here. Take care of the Smasher. Go in with KO ability, put them down on 5 life. Okay, so I decide not to play my creatures. In case they play the All Is Dust, I can play something on the next turn. But yeah, they now have All Is Dust in hand and also Devourer of Destiny, which puts me in an awkward position because they were able to kill my Kabu there. If I play the Scion, they would not be able to do this. They would be forced to use All Is Dust. So maybe that would make my situation slightly better here. But I draw another Scion from the top, which is great news. I have to pay more mana to cast Scion, but I expect them to use the All Is Dust now. So yeah, they will kill my stuff, but I'll be able to play another Scion of Jaco. Yeah, I could have, and they also get the Reality Smasher back. That was the problem here. They're now on 0 cards, but yeah, Reality Smasher is definitely a problem here. And they're on 5 life and not 4, which means my Scion only kills them in 2 turns. Okay, so now I can play the Scion again, I can play the Tamiyo and hold the mana for Counterspell, but all that is actually not enough as I need 2 turns to kill them. I can jump the Devourer for a turn with Tamiyo, but yeah, next turn I will need exactly Bolt to finish this. Yeah, as I said, I'm jumping here and hoping for a Bolt. I have Counterspell for anything else they play, but yeah, they already resolved. And even Scion from the top is not enough at the moment, so that is the game. Let's check out game 3. Okay, so I keep a 1-lander, but I know what deck is my opponent playing, and they only have a couple of dismembers, maybe a couple more on the sideboard, but it's not like a great chance they'll be able to kill my Ragavan. So I'm hoping to connect with Ragavan, and then if I connect, I can just play the Kavu, which then makes it pretty easy for me to draw another land next turn. But instead I decided to risk it, go for the Preordain, try to find that land. It didn't happen, but here I find it, turn 3 from the top, so maybe this was still fine. Okay, now I can play the Binding, take their Flute, and then play the Scion, disable them from doing anything else, but I think I like more just playing the Kawu here. Kawu hits harder, and they're still not in a position to play Devourer of Destiny or whatever, so I don't use the Binding. I'm holding Binding to maybe try to find something for it hit to something more relevant. Okay, I'm going now with all of my creatures, doing a discard draw with the Kavu. This means if I draw the Preordain, I can just flip the Tamiyo. I can also just crack the Clue token to flip it. Connecting with Ragavan and flipping the Tamiyo, drawing a card, playing. I have to play my Leyline Binding to cast the Scion. That was the only reason why I was slightly reluctant to do it. But yeah, now if I play the Scion, I have lethal next turn. That is why I decide to do it. And I go Scion the flute and just binding the flute and to be able to play my Scion. And yeah, here I find the preordain with Tamiyo, and then of course I was able to play Charter Course before this, but I'm in a pretty good position and I wanted to cast a Charter Course after combat. My opponent is down on 3 life. I gained a bunch of life here. My opponent needs Eldrazi Temple to be able to cast All is Dust next turn. I go for a Charter Course, drawing 2 cards, hoping to find some interaction. It didn't happen. I only draw lands, but yeah, my opponent needs All is Dust in this situation or it is over. They have Yugin's Labyrinth, but they don't, I guess they don't have mana to, don't have a card to imprint, so they're able to just play the Totnut Seer, which is not enough, not enough in this situation for my opponent, and that is the game and the match against Eldrazi. Okay, so let's check out this last match of this league. This one I end up losing. Okay, but this is pretty good hand. I have starting with 2 ley lines, and yeah, this one was pretty close. It doesn't get closer than this. You will see here. Okay, my opponent, this was very closely a trophy, very closely a trophy league, and through entire league this deck just overperformed entire time. And you can see just how relevant Force of Negation is in a lot of these matchups. Okay, opponent actually finds the Slickshot Show-Off with Raptor here. That is pretty good. And I definitely wanted to build block this Swift Spear. They go Bolt my Kawu. I was expecting that. So I just force that, kill the Swift Spear, protect my Kawu, and now I have Scion, give lifelink to Kawu, and that is game over. Very easy, super easy against a burn. And yeah, this is like pretty close to trophy. So far all the games were pretty easy. I subtlety their guide on turn 1, they put guide on the bottom. Subtleting the guide is often very efficient. I played Zagotrium, and this means I can't actually, sadly I can't go for turn 2 Scion, but I was able to kill the bolt the Swift Spear, and now I can play my land tapped and finally play the Scion. So I'm still good. My opponent needs to use another card. They have, they have Werther here. Werther was actually good. I kept a subtlety on top. Maybe that wasn't a great decision. Okay, again my opponent had to use another card to kill my Scion. And my opponent tries to go for the Raptor, and I play the subtlety. Subtlety worked out really nice here. I was able to subtlety their creature and also just block one of their creatures. So now I'm on 5 and my opponent is on 7. So it is a race. I have a Counterspell and Force of Negation. This is great news. Although I'm down on 2 life, I still have a subtlety. Maybe it was not a good decision to attack last turn, but here now I have excellent clock and I have Force of Negation, and this is the only thing I didn't play around in their deck. The only thing is they needed to have is like exactly Swift Spear into the burn spell. That's the only thing that wins them this game. Also they had Sandbag Canyon, so they survived on 1 life, but I had that Force of Negation backup. It was just extremely unlikely for them to be able to double spell there, and which means they needed exactly the Swift Spear, and yeah, that was it. Okay, so very close game 2, and this is the only match I lost in this league. So I would say pretty strong performance by this deck. I only played this single league with it, and so I can't say too much, but I am pretty happy with its performance so far. Okay, so in this game 3, I had a much worse hand than in previous 2 games. What I was lacking here was definitely creatures. Creatures I can cast early, like a Scion, like Territorial Cow. These are the creatures that win me matchups like that. Okay, so Surveil, I leave the chart of course on top, hoping to find another threat. Okay, so this is the only basically matchup where I believe Tamiyos are probably too slow. I decide I didn't tap right. Okay, also problem is that turn I find Thundering Falls. I didn't find the Zagotrime. If I find the Zagotrime, I would be in a better position here. But I was able to binding their Slickshot Shove Off, play the Ragavan. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in my favor in this game. I find a full domain and play the Scion, but opponent has Searing Blades for Ragavan, Smash the Smithereens for the Scion, and going in with Spear damage efficiently. So that was it. Counterspell was a good top deck now, but I needed to have some threats on the field before that, and yeah. That was it. That was the last match and the only loss in this league against Burn. But it was pretty interesting league, pretty fun matches. I think you can see how good was actually this Force of Negation. It was amazing, best card in deck, and my choice to use this as a 4-off in the main instead of a split with Subtlety was definitely a good one. Subtlety was also great, efficient from the sideboard, but I think Force of Negation overall was more relevant in today's meta. Okay, so 4 Ragavans, 4 Tamiyos, 4 Kavus, 4 Seven Dracos, all like the best available threats at the moment in builds like this. Tamiyo works great with Force of Negations and Subtleties, and it's also just another mana efficient threat, 1 mana, very easily flipped. I believe like I didn't have it in this video, but plenty of times I play Kavu on turn 2, turn 3 attack with Kavu, do the discard, do the draw, play the Tamiyo, play the Preordain, immediately flip the Tamiyo. It's just felt insane broken play that I was doing something very unfair. And I would also plus the Tamiyo immediately down on 4, have 1 mana for interaction, for binding, bolt, whatever, and next turn I can just use the Tamiyo to get back the counterspell from the yard or plus it again. It was really powerful, and I'm really liking this build. It is, I would say, my favorite zoo build at the moment. I believe the regular zoo is still fine, still very strong, but like adding just 2-3 Ajanis to the otherwise stock list is not that exciting. This kind of build excites me much more. It's very fresh, exciting to play, some new play patterns. Tamiyo is a fun card to play, fun threats to have in aggressive but also grindy zoo build like this one. Also being able to use the Flame of Feiners from the sideboard was big. It's also just additional removal that deals 5, which is very efficient, and also sometimes with Tamiyo on the field it can also draw you 2 cards. I really like that too. So that is it. Damping Spheres have become the staple of the modern sideboard, and having Rest in Peace, I think it's a great graveyard hate for a zoo list like this. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. A reminder to click like, click subscribe, comment down in the video. Tell me how do you feel about this blue zoo list in comparison to the pre-MH3. I believe that Tamiyo is a really fresh and nice addition to build like this. Also, Tamiyo forcing in Charter Course has been amazing. As you could see yourself, Charter Course was really good top deck. Every time I drove it through this entire league, I was really impressed with Charter Course, and I liked it more than I liked Expressive Iteration. This builds as mana curve is kind of high, no Mishra Bubbles, not enough of the 1-drops, so often you're forced to use the cards you don't want with Iteration. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so thank you for watching this far, and that's all for today. Goodbye.